there are two different things. An emergency need should be for 6 months and then you leave. An emergency should not go on for years. And that's why we have a contract for 10 years, bridging the gap of where Ghana is today to where it has to be in the future to be self-sufficient without any emergency running or any temporary power plant.
Government says it has paid off the social security contributions of its workers. This is in reaction to earlier reports that it owed a total amount of 800 million cedis in social security contributions to its workers. My colleague Elton John Bobe, who's been following this issue, spoke to me earlier.
This document before the Public Accounts Committee is the Auditor General's audit into the consolidated fund, as you can say, the accounts of government.
Okay.
And this is between the period 2012 and 2013.
Okay.
And in the reports before Parliament, the Auditor General identified the fact that government failed to release this amount of money to Smith because the controller deducted the money at source. And at some point, the money was 700 million. There was also an outstanding of some 500 million. So put together, that will give you 12 million. The government paid just 5 million, leaving a balance of 8 million. And the Auditor General, in his account in the report, said that this could stifle the operations of Smith. Now, the response from the controller to that particular audit crew in the report is that she is liaising with the finance ministry to ensure prompt payment of the monies deducted from the salary of our public sector workers. Now, what we have been told, however, is that government has paid off this amount of money since 2014. That's according to the Deputy Finance Minister, Kezlot Fortin, because what we are looking at is between the period 2012 to 2013. And he's made mention to the fact that government has paid this money as at the end of 2014. Indeed, in the 2015 budget presented to Parliament last year, November, government quoted in terms of aid contribution to SNIT by money it has taken from the workers' salary that it had not paid that particular amount. But the Deputy Finance Minister is telling us that government has paid as at the end of 2014.
So as things stand now, those debts have been settled. Is that the case? Well,
that's according to the Deputy Finance Minister, Arthur Forsen. But I'm also telling you that in the 2015 budget presented to Parliament in November last year, government, in its own words, in the budget stated that it had not paid the contribution of workers. Indeed, from January up to September 2014. But the Deputy Minister is saying that that particular amount of money was cleared at the end of 2014.
I see. Let's still stay on the Auditor General's report. Now, what else does it talk about?
Well, it talks about government failure to, for instance, pay to the statutory funds. We are talking about the District Assembly's Common Fund, the GET Fund, and the National Health Insurance, fund. And those areas were highlighted in the report. But like I said, we are looking at 2013, 2014. There may have been some, payments done within the period. So maybe we'll have to wait till the 2014 Auditor General report comes.
The chairman of the Senior Staff Association of the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Facility, Albert Mante, has been sacked. His dismissal is reportedly linked to an organized agitation against the management over a recruitment policy. My colleague Kwachia Freniama has been speaking to Mr. Mante on his dismissal.
This follows a series of events over the past few weeks. In fact, there's been a lot of discussion, controversy at BOSS. There's been the issue of this audit report by E&Y with the alleged collusion between officials of the BDCs and officials of BOSS. And this matter came up first where senior staff members of BOSS were up in arms against management, accusing them of a number of things. And this dismissal follows that. In fact, I got off the phone some 10 minutes ago with Mr. Mante, and he says that his dismissal is purely linked to the fact that they decided to raise these issues, raise these concerns. He has sent me a copy of his dismissal letter. In fact, this letter, is signed by the managing director of BOSS. Let me read extracts of that. Okay. The managing director, again, is Kwame Ewadako. The letter is dated 28th April 2015.
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. And it starts by saying, "Dear Mr. Mante," the title is "Termination of our Employment. We write to inform you that effective immediately, your employment with a bulk oil storage and transportation company is terminated. Having considered the responses in your memorandum dated 21st April 2015, the management of the company is of the opinion that your claim that you were only reacting to issues pertaining to senior staff union and not on company issues is unsatisfactory." And this query he's talking about here, from the information that I've picked, I understand that he granted an interview to City Business News some days back, where the senior staff, there seems to be some division on their front. Someone was on City Business News saying that he was a representative of the senior staff, and he called into the program questioning his locus and all that, and management say that was inappropriate. So he was queried on that particular issue. And what this letter signed by the managing director of the bulk oil distribution, Kwame Ewadako, is saying that his attitude in that regard was inappropriate. And let me go on with the said letter. Okay. It says that clause 10.6 of the conditions of service is very clear in restricting communication on quote unquote any matter concerning the administration or policies of the company to the media. They're saying that he breached the company's code of conduct in terms of how members of staff communicate with the media. And the letter goes ahead to say you will be paid consequently by making statement to City FM on the company's ongoing restructuring exercise and stating policy for broadcast without going through the appropriate channel. So he's being dismissed based on this, as I said again.
So is he looking at taking this matter up possibly to the law courts or something, or he's just going to let things slide?
He says he will explore those options, going to the Labour Commission, for example, which is a body mandated to look into breaches of labour issues in agencies, institutions, and so on. But he's more concerned, speaking to him, the impression I got was that he's more concerned about this fight, which he says that is a sort of a crusade that he's so much concerned about, ensuring that the right thing, he says, is done at BOSS.
The Polytechnic Teachers Association of Ghana, POTAG, has called on government to pay the 2014-2015 academic year's book and research allowance as listed in the association's conditions of service. Speaking on the AM show, Vice Chairman of the Accra Polytechnic branch of POTAG, Dan Osabuti, said the delay in the payment of the allowances is, quote, mounting tension on the various polytechnic campuses.
POTAG was compelled, to embark on that unfortunate action. So we weren't happy with whatever happened, but of course, my sister, we were pushed to the wall.
And I see that from the way you're talking, you're being pushed to the wall again.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
In fact, that is what is happening.
So are we going to see any action?
We don't want to get there.
So,
we don't want
how
to
do
get
you
there.
intend resolving
So here we are calling on Fair Wages and Salaries Commission.
How are you doing it? Because you've written. You've communicated directly with that office
severally,
and nobody has minded you.
No.
So why do you think
that is why
new calls you're making now?
That is why we want to erase that perception, in the public domain that POTAG are in for only strikes.
Are you preparing us for an action? And if I say, are you preparing Ghanaians? Because now you seem to be telling us your story.
Yes.
Oh, we've been trying to get their ears, but they haven't been minding us. We've written several letters, no response. So we have to go on a certain action that will compel them to listen to us.
We are not preparing the minds of Ghanaians to think of we going on strike. We just want the truth to be made. We want Ghanaians to know the truth. That we don't just get up one day and say we are going on strike. My sister, since January, okay, we are in our 5th month, all right? I mean, getting to the 5th month, and nothing is happening. So we are saying that listen to us and that we have a legitimate concern. But the authority that is supposed to address it is not doing it.
The Director of Performance Management, Cornelius Yossen, says the Commission has met with POTAC and agreed on harmonizing allowances.
We are meeting UTAC and said on the same issue for both POTAC and for UTAC. And when we last met, there were areas on which we are not agreed on the issue. But we have to seek further directions, etc., before we come back and meet them. And indeed, after UTAC, we are meeting POTAC. I can't tell you a specific date per se. We are meeting POTAC.
So is your conversation with them going to be on a review of their entire conditions of service, or your concentration will be on the book and research allowance that is to be scrapped?
This is the funny aspect of it. We met POTAC. And we agreed on the issues. We have something called category 2 and 3 allowance, harmonization and standardization of categories 2 and 3 allowance. A lot of the items in their conditions of service also border on the categories 2 and 3, which are being discussed at the Public Services Joint Standing Negotiating Committee. And so the book and research became the only item that was there. Indeed, they themselves signed a memorandum of understanding in which the conditions of service, the research allowance was negotiated out of the conditions of service. So, in principle, we are more or less met on the book and research, but we looked at the whole conditions of service in tandem. But then every item, or most of the items that we came to, belongs to categories 2 and 3, which are to be negotiated under the Public Services Joint Standing Negotiating Committee. Therefore, rendering redundant or those items that we have to discuss them, remaining only the book and research allowance, which we have to discuss them.
Pressure group Occupy Ghana plans to turn Midday into a large peaceful protest across the country. Addressing the media in Accra, a leading member of the group, Sydney Case-Layford, said workers must wear red in protest against the worsening economic crisis. The group cited several wrongs in the management of the country's finances, including poor management of pension funds, as well as the energy crisis.
Asking that the significance of Midday on this particular Midday should be shifted. Let it become a voice of protest and a voice of complaint to the government. Let them understand clearly that as much as we are not going to walk the streets attempting to destroy anything and create mayhem, we are at least going to register our protests by making sure that we symbolize the day with something red. A red shoe, a red scarf, a red pair of earrings, a red pair of socks, anything that we can think of that will enhance that day. But we also have to be careful. In as much as we support everything that is being done, we are also very, very big advocates of ensuring that you do not give everything away for nothing. Whilst the workers themselves are protesting and complaining, we also have to ensure that Ghana is not being shafted because of low productivity, low attendance, and the low inability of us to be able to use the particular workforce that we have to cause our problems to be fixed.
Well, that's Sydney Case-Layford of Occupy Ghana there. We're taking a break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us. Let's go to Kufuor now, where a midwife in the town is facing accusations of negligence at the Kufuor Zongo Health Center. This was after she reportedly told a pregnant woman who was in labor to go back home and shave. Haruna Yusuf Wumpini joins me on phone with more on this. Haruna, why did the midwife ask the expectant mother to go home?
According to the midwife, they said anytime a pregnant woman visits the facility, they have been told to dress themselves properly before they come to the facility. But here is the case, a 25-year-old Bushra Safiano, who came to the facility, and when the midwife asked her to undress herself. After she did that, the midwife realized that she did not shave her private part and asked her to go home. On her way back home, and she delivered on the way. This is an act that the woman is keep on doing because the health committee that is put up to ensure that whatever goes, the activities in the health center is done properly. They also came and asked her, this is what we heard about the facility, how is it? The way the woman talked to them was not good. And I personally investigated on this matter. At first and foremost, interacted with some of the clients who visit the facility, and what they told me, in fact, is not the best. So I said I continue my investigation to the health committee members, where they also told me the same thing, that clients of the hospital reported a case of the midwife to them. But I also took my time, because I always passionate following this story. I took my time, went to the facility to also find out from the midwife herself, this is the situation. How come a 25-year-old pregnant woman was asked to go home because she did not shave her private part? And the woman actually told me she's not ready to speak to me. I said, please, I am not here for us to argue. I only come to find out from you, because I cannot hear something outside and so that I can base it on my facts. I need to hear something from you because you are in the facility. So whatever goes on in the facility, you are there. You can brief me very well on that. But the woman refused to brief me what is happening.
She didn't give any specific reasons why the midwife, why she actually asked the lady to go back and not stay. What is that the case?
The reason was that the woman, when I asked the woman on this case, the woman denied. The woman denied that she did not tell her to go back home. But what I requested from the woman, and per my investigation I requested from the woman, was that if a woman comes to a facility like that for antenatal checkup, for instance, I believe there is a document that the woman will enter her name, her everything. So I requested that book from the midwife so that I can be sure indeed such woman visited the facility. But the woman said no. So she couldn't give me the reason. But according to the health committee members, they said the woman, the midwife, actually drove her away because she failed to shave her private part.
I see. Okay, but I'm told the chiefs and people of the area are trying to, well, they've been questioning this particular lady, this midwife. What have they been asking her?
Yes, I think the report that was brought before them, they said they also took the time and said, let's go to the facility and ask the woman. So they went there, and the woman was not trying to tell them what is happening. Okay.
So now, this pregnant lady, has she delivered now? Is she okay now? How's the baby?
Yeah, the pregnant woman now, she has delivered, and the baby is fine. Okay,
all right. Thank you very much. We can now take a listen to the municipal chief executive of the area.
Their pain concerning a particular midwife at the facility, that she normally drives people away unattended to due to her temperament. However, this is an issue concerning a certain lady who came to the facility, for antenatal care. As usual and normal of a midwife who will always attend to a client, the pregnant woman was asked to, remove her clothing. She did exactly that. When the midwife quickly saw the private part of the lady, she boldly told the woman that, you've not shaved your hair, so just get up and dress and leave the facility. As an assembly member and a zonal council chairman, this issue came to fore. In fact, we decided, including the former assembly member and the health.
Well, Kwame Jumajuma is standing by with the very latest in the world of sports. Stay tuned. Good afternoon, Ghana, and welcome to the Midday Sports, proudly brought to you by Mixi Milk Powder. We're building up to the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, which will commence in New Zealand later next month. We've been to the training grounds of the national Under-20 team, the Black Satellites, as they prepare for this event. We caught up with head coach Salah Stete.
You have to program, you have to plan, and you have to prepare. Now, we have program, we have plan, we have program, and now we are preparing. So now that's the end result of the 3 Ps. And that will be the preparation period. So when we reach there, then we can assess or analyze whether our preparation has been good or perfect. You see, so to answer this question to the fullest, then you have to give me some little time.
Salah Stete confidence that his experiences from 2009 and 2013 in Turkey would have a bearing on this side. There's a new entrant to the team, Emmanuel Oche, who plays for Rio Ave in Portugal, and he's desperate to make that squad.
How does it feel to join the team?
Yeah, I feel great because it's a great opportunity for me to play for my nation. I feel good.
You coming in as a new player, what is it that you know about this team?
Yeah, I think we have a good team. It's my 3rd time training with this team, and I think we have a good team. We can go further. Yeah.
I mean, you're part of the foreign players that were invited for this very tournament. 35 players have been called up. Does that put any pressure on you?
I think no, I have no pressure on me because I will put on my best and I will leave the rest to God.
You've been impressive in training. I mean, what have they been telling you?
Oh, they've always been telling me I should work hard and push much harder. I can do better.
But what do you also bring on board? I mean, you also being a new player coming in.
I think it's a really good thing, and for me, I think I'll work much harder to help the team so that we improve much better than then.
How big is the World Cup?
I think it's much difficult, but for me, I take it easy because I think we have a good team and we can improve much better and go further.
The last time Ghana was at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, we came in with the bronze. Hopefully this time around, we're going to be doing a lot better. We go to Nigeria now, and Nigeria, who have concluded the appointment of David Keshi as the new Super Eagles boss, have a lot more in store for him. The NFF, that's the Nigerian Football Federation, planning to send the coach on refresher courses that would boost his capacity as being appointed as a new Super Eagles manager.
We also lined up a lot of training, a lot of capacity building for the head coach, Stephen Keshi, and it's part of his contract. You know, he's coming here to England to train under some very seasoned coaches, which I already met. You know.
Could you tell me who those coaches are?
We had the word with Arsene Wenger, and Arsene, we were ready to take him in sometime in July. We're also looking at talking to other Premier League clubs and clubs in Germany so that we look at the various techniques, the German technique, the Belgian technique, and also the English technique, and see how we can harness them so that he can grow and put it to play whenever he's playing any game.
So maybe Ghana should send our national team local coaches to some of these established clubs to learn a few things from there. We'll have a look at what transpired in the Spanish La Liga last night as Football Club Barcelona hit Getafe for 6.
8 minutes.
Well, I guess I could have scored one of those penalties and led one of these two teams to the final. That's it for the Midday Sports. Organized labor has been expressing concern on the current unending energy crisis ahead of this year's Midday celebrations. Here in Accra, they held a seminar where independent power producer Charles Rekubobe has been sharing some perspectives on the crisis. My colleague Latif Idris has been to the place and has come through with this.
Our industry is collapsing. Markets, people living outside who want to buy things from Ghana cannot be sure that the electricity will be there to produce it, or cannot be sure that it can be produced competitively. So over the next 5 years, with electricity growing at about 10% or more, we need to make sure that we have a stopgap arrangement which ensures that we don't go into another doom solution. Why do I say that? And Kofi Ellis and people will In my experience, when I went to VRA, there were certain projects which had been on the drawing board for about 10 years, and it took 20 years to get them done. Not because the staff were inefficient, but because the way in which financing is organized, etc., is that way. And in fact, even on the fastest speed, from the signature of a memorandum of understanding to the commissioner of a plant, can take anything between 6 to 8 years or 10 years. So unless we actually have got plants being built now, which are going to come on stream in the next year or two, then join me in praying to my grandfather Okonfanochi that Akosombo will come back. Because if you don't, you can be sure, if Akosombo goes down again or doesn't rise up as it should, and the prognosis at the moment is not good, that we can return to a flow, then it means that unless we have interim arrangements, then we may get back to do so.
That was Dr. Charles Rekubobe, Chief Policy Analyst at the Ghana Institute for Public Policy Options. That'll be it for this hour. Before we go, a recap of our top stories. Car Power dismisses suggestions it was engaged to provide emergency solutions to the country's energy crisis. Meanwhile, organized labor is worried over the unending power crisis crippling the economy ahead of this year's Midday celebrations. Government says it has paid off its workers' SNIT contributions, contrary to reports indicating otherwise. You also heard in business that Ghana is expected to overspend before the end of the year. Well, that'll be it for Joy News today. For more news, do also log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Kwabna Chencha Hinibuati. Have a good afternoon.